If you have a one-handed backhand, then there's one thing you need to learn if you really want to be successful hitting it, and that's how to hit an open stance backhand. You might be wondering, Kevin, why would I need to hit an open stance backhand? If I'm on the run, I can do like that. Why? Well, there's a couple reasons. Couple things is that sometimes you won't be able to get your foot across and hit a backhand. So having an open stance backhand, especially if you're moving back into the court, will save you. So you don't always have to hit that slice. I know how it is. But the other thing is hitting an open stance backhand return. So many one-handed players kind of go, well, I'm not really good with my open stance backhand. So what they do is just simply chip the ball. That's not a bad thing, but guess what? Your opponent suddenly knows, hey, if I don't want to have to worry about the ball coming back really hard or them taking it early, unless they can chip and charge, then I'll just hit it to the backhand. Why not have the extra variety in your game to be able to hit more than one shot, being the chip and coming off the open stance? And even with the chip, you're going to want to hit an open stance sometimes. So in this video, I'm going to show you my 3 steps to hitting the open stance backhand. Let's start with step number 1. First thing we have to understand is the racket face. And so big problem that a lot of players experience with a one-handed backhand when they're trying to hit in an open stance is they can't control their racket face, meaning that when they hit the ball, they're flailing this way or they're over opening and they can't keep the racket face. And so what I mean by this is that I want you to think in 6 inches. And so what I mean by 6 inches is that if I make contact, I want to have the racket follow the contact for 6 inches and then come around, compared to kind of snapping through the ball. So if I hit it too early, guess what? It's going to go more cross court. If I hit it late, it's going to go, well, out. And so we don't want that. We want to make sure we have the 6-inch rule. And so what I want you to do is simply get in the habit of making sure that when you're hitting the ball, you have a 6-inch little runway. So even if I'm taking my normal swing, I'm having the 6-inch runway through my contact. So a really quick drill you can do this is simply to stand here and have your backhand grip. And all I'm going to have you do is not take a big swing, and you're going to make sure you're going to hit the ball and go 6 inches out before you come around. So it'll look like this. I'll set up and I'm just going to go 6 inches out. Now you can tell because of this angle, I'm directly in front of the ball machine. So right here I'll set up, and what I want to do is make sure that if I'm making contact here, that my racket's going to allow 6 inches, which should send the ball directly over the ball machine, or at least close to it. So I'm going to go here, 6 inches. So I'm a little off there, but it's okay to be that off. That's where I want. Now, if we're not 6 inches, we might get a deal like that. You can see how off that is. We don't want that. So make sure you go and practice going contact 6 inches out, and then you can come around. Make sure that we're not going contact and coming around too early, avoiding the 6 inches, because if we don't have the 6 inches, you're not going to get the ball to go where you want. Number 2, you got to think of your body as a spring, meaning you have to coil. This is one of the biggest things that really hurts a lot of one-handed backhand players, is that they're so used to turning sideways like this. Well, when I'm sideways, my body's not coiled. Therefore, it doesn't want to uncoil. And that's the key, or one of the biggest keys to hitting open stance backhand, is that you see the players coiling their body, creating separation between their lower and upper half. And this is a state or a position in the body that helps you create more racket speed with your one-handed backhand, meaning that when I'm like this and I coil, noticing my shoulders facing this way and my hips facing forward, naturally, when I push against my legs or just want to get back to a natural state, I'm going to uncoil. And this is key compared to turning sideways, hence no coil, and then I just either use my arm, or you get a slight coil with the shoulder, but not enough to create a lot of racket head speed. So we really want to make sure we're coiling and having the shoulders facing this direction and the hips facing this direction. So to do that, simple drill is to split and just get in a position where you're coiling. So you're going to step out and coil. Step out and coil. Now, what I call the coil check is you should feel some tension right in your core, your torso area from coiling. If you don't feel a lot of tension, it's probably because there's not big enough coil that you can produce more racket head speed. And you have to make sure to get in this position, because if you can get in this position, then you can create the racket head speed. The third key is your footwork. Obviously, you got to be more open when you arrive to the ball. But what I also want you to do is try to make sure when you're open, your toe is not pointing to the side. This is a coiling killer. And so what I mean by that is if I'm coiling and my toe's to the side, watch what happens. Notice how, since my toe is to the side, it actually pulls my hip over to the side. And so if I'm coiling, trying to get my shoulders to go back, I'm actually pulling my hips with it, okay? And so the problem here is there's not that much coil. And so what we want to do is start getting our toe to start facing more inside the court. It doesn't have to face directly inside the court, but there's a big difference between here and here. And by having that toe position now and coiling, guess what? I can then uncoil. Now, with my toe position, I want you to make sure when we're uncoiling that we stay on the outside leg longer, meaning my left leg. So as I'm hitting, I'm going coil, staying on the leg, and uncoiling with the 6 inches through the ball. And this is the keys to hitting a great one-handed open stance backhand. And it's so important that you practice this, because if you want to have a great return, then you need to have a great one-handed or open stance backhand. So now I'm going to use the ball machine, and we're going to go through all 3 parts of the backhand. I'm going to just start off with focusing on 6 inches, and I'm just going to start off not even worry about my stance. So as the ball comes, I'm going to make sure I'm 6 inches through the ball at contact. So I'll go ahead and set up, wait for the ball machine to hit it, and 6 inches, you can see how I'm really not even focusing on having a full follow through, but I'm focusing on making sure that as I pull the racket, 6 inches through the ball. The second part was making sure, oh, got to do a better 6 inches there. The second part was making sure that I coil. Now, if you notice the coil, I can then uncoil. So I'm coiling and uncoiling. And I'm not even using my legs that much there. Coiling, uncoiling, and you can start to see it. And now the third part is putting my legs, adjusting my toe here. And the other part is I'm pushing against the ground more. The more I push against the ground, the more force I can use to uncoil. And you can really see how I can take this, oh, caught that one late, didn't get the 6 inches, and hit through the ball. And if I wanted to go cross court, I just swing a little bit earlier and the ball goes cross court. And I'm really, oh, deep one, good job. And I'm really making sure by coiling, now I can hit more open stance backhands, because it's basically I'm using my body to uncoil. And this is what you want to do to hit your open stance backhand. This is how you can get good at hitting your open stance backhand, which now leads you into being able to hit open stance backhand returns and hurting your opponent. And this is key. Now, there's one other area that's so important for your one-handed backhand, which is making sure that when you're pulling and getting through those 6 inches, you're using the right muscles. And so if you want to know what the right muscles are, watch this video.